Hello and welcome back to another video. Today here again on Forza Horizon 5, going to be giving my thoughts on all aspects of the Hot Wheels expansion now that I've had plenty of time playing through it on stream and I've pretty much completed all of it by now. As it's a racing game, let's begin with the cars in this expansion. You start with the Baja Bone Shaker down in B class, and then also unlock cars such as the Diora 2, Bad to the Blade, Copo Camaro, the Chupin Porsche, the Brabham BT62, the Mosler GT3 car, the Hennessy Venom F5, Subaru Rally thingy, and another pointless Sierra buggy thing, which I've not even driven. At least this expansion does have 10 cars this time, like we used to get in all expansions until the LEGO one, for some reason, didn't have that many cars. So it's good to see they've added 10 again, and it is a reasonably good and varied selection. I particularly like some of the real cars, like the Brabham, the Chupin, and the Hennessy. So now that we've covered the cars, let's move on to something very surprising for, well, a Forza game these days: the progression system. It goes through all of the classes, which is brilliant, and should be implemented into the next Horizon game in some form, and it may well be, given that expansions in the past are often a way of testing features such as this for future games, so hopefully that will come forward to Horizon 6 whenever that happens. So yeah, the campaign is very good. I do like the progression system where you have to start in B class to then unlock A class, S1 and S2. I feel like they could have included some C class at least. D class is kind of arguable because it's Hot Wheels, so hopefully if they implement this into Horizon 6, for example, they would start at an even lower category so you can only drive D class cars to begin with. I think that would make it fantastic. The only problem with it is quite a short campaign, so it's good that the progression is there, but you go through it very quickly as you kind of want to unlock the cars, which is good. It keeps you playing because you want to achieve something, but I don't think there's quite enough there. I have completed it quite quickly. You could probably do it in several hours if you tried hard enough. The other problem is, what do you do after you've completed that campaign and you've explored all of the map and you've found all of the bonus boards and you've done all of that? I can't see myself returning all that often, apart from for fun challenges and racing Reliance around the Goliath, but apart from that, I can't see I'll return all that often just for racing. I'll probably end up going back to the mainland, so in that way it's not really got all that longevity to it. So the progression is arguably the best feature of this expansion, and hopefully we will see it in future games, but the second best thing, I think, is actually the new drone mode. It has much better height than normal, giving much more flexibility for what it can be used for. You can even look down over the edge to the main map. The only question is, why is this not available in the main game? As we know, expansions are often used to test features, as I said previously, so maybe this will be there in Horizon 6 if we're lucky, but I kind of doubt it. I think it is just a exclusive Hot Wheels feature, probably. One feature I was very much looking forward to coming into this was the new Event Lab tools specifically for the Hot Wheels tracks. So the ability to snap them together is fantastic. I love that. My only problem is, why have they not done that to all the other props in the normal Event Lab? It would make everything so much easier to build. And the problem with the Hot Wheels track snapping together is that it's great until you get round to the end of a circuit and you're trying to join the two end pieces up to each other. It's kind of like Scalextric. You get round and realise they're slightly offset and you have to try and mirror things better. So if you plan it really well, I can see it sort of working, and I've got around it by trying to line things up previously, but it's not fantastic if you're trying to build a circuit. And the other problem is, there's not that many props available. Yes, there's millions of pieces of track giving you a wide variety of things you can do with that, but there's no of the special tracks in any form. There's no ice track, there's no water track, there's no magnet track, and in some of the decorative props and things, there's no rings of fire, for example, which I think is quite an obvious thing to have missed out. So I was slightly disappointed by how few props there were, and by how the snapping worked, because in theory it's a very good idea, but I don't think it worked all that well, and for it to work properly it really needs to be implemented to all of the props across Event Lab. The fact we don't have to build Event Lab routes just from start lines either, at least on the Hot Wheels map, is very good. We have these additional build stubs, which does make it slightly more flexible, although we don't have these in the mainland, which is still irritating, and really we should be able to make a route that starts and finishes wherever we want it to. So there are a couple of very annoying settings that are switched on by default when you first launch the Hot Wheels expansion, which I really do recommend you turn off immediately, or go and turn them off now if you haven't already. The first thing you should do is turn off the Hot Wheels stunt handling and the annoying way up marker thingy, as they're both incredibly irritating. I don't mind them being an option, I get that, maybe some people want those, but I don't think they should be on by default. And I also don't think the weird camera angles should be there. The field of view is different to begin with. Yes, you can adjust it, you can now adjust field of view on console as well, which is a huge thing in this update, and that's not only Hot Wheels, that's across the whole game. But I don't know why in Hot Wheels you want the camera to be all weird to begin with. Yes, give us the option to adjust it, but don't put it like that as default. Same thing goes for the stunt handling and the way up marker. Now, for some reason, Forza gave me all my car mastery rewards again, which I thought was just a glitch on my game, but Elf had the same thing and a lot of people had the same experience. So it seems if you get this expansion, at some point you will be given all of these rewards again. Or it did seem like that. This has now been found to be a known glitch, and Forza have unfortunately patched it. So if this didn't happen to you, it probably won't now if you haven't played the expansion yet. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. But yeah, there was a bit of a glitch with that to begin with, which meant some of us were lucky enough to receive our rewards again. Unusually this time, there is an online mode in the expansion which we don't usually get. So you can now do Horizon Open in the Hot Wheels expansion, and there are all of the options that there are in the mainland, pretty much, apart from some of the lower categories. So yeah, it is not quite as good as it could have been. There's only options for A-Class and above, and collisions are permanently off. So it's basically just rivals again, and is pretty pointless, to be honest. If you're in an online race, you want the collisions to be there, otherwise you just go through people and it's effectively a time trial. So that's a bit irritating, that although online racing is a feature this time, there are no collisions in it. Although, interestingly, in the Horizon Tour co-op online thing, there are collisions for some reason, so I don't quite know what their thinking is there, but hopefully they do change that, although I kind of doubt they will. So, throughout this expansion, I was obviously drawing comparisons to Forza Horizon 3 that had the original Hot Wheels expansion, and that will forever be the original map, and for that I'll always love it. It was such an unexpected expansion back then, and I think it was more fun to play after the campaign had been completed, not that I ever completed it anyway. This new map is bigger, it's more dense, and has more, I hate to say it, diversity to it. It is much better visually, and is set in its own unique world, not just on top of a copy and pasted version of the mainland. Well, sort of, it is kind of still above Mexico, but they've created a whole world for it, more so than they did in that first one. They have done a very good job, but they kind of had to if they were repeating an expansion that we've already paid for and asking us to pay for it again. And a lot of people did love the Horizon 3 expansion, so they had to get this right so as not to upset the fans of that expansion, but also create something that the newer players of Horizon would enjoy. Having said all of that, I think the Horizon 3 map was more fun to mess about on after the campaign was completed, so much that I never really did the campaign, like I was saying, in that game, and I used the map as a fun playground, basically, which I can see myself doing a little bit in this one, but I feel like I was more focused on the campaign in this one, and some of the tracks are kind of less extreme. Everywhere that there's an extreme incline, for example, there's a magnet track, which, yeah, kind of makes sense, it holds you down to the track, but Horizon 3 was just kind of more mad and more wild, and there was a chance you would have a massive crash and fall off. Anyway, there was just something about that one that I think had a better feeling, although this one is probably technically a better expansion in almost every way. I do think, though, overall it is worth buying it again. It has been brilliant throughout the campaign part, and comes with some great cars like the Brabham, Hennessy and Chupan that I mentioned in the cars section, so I do think it's worth it, particularly if you didn't play the Horizon 3 expansion. Do go and get this one so you've experienced Hot Wheels, because that one is difficult to get hold of now, unless you get an Xbox disc version with expansions somehow. I think it is possible to get it, but yeah, I would recommend going and getting this one. It is a lot of fun if you didn't experience the Horizon 3 one, and if you did play the Horizon 3 one, I feel like this one is different enough to warrant you going and giving it a go. It has been quite enjoyable through the campaign, even if it was quite a short one, and even if you don't end up returning afterwards, I think it probably is worth it for that. So there we go, that is what I think of the Hot Wheels expansion after playing through most of it during streams in the last couple of weeks. I will be returning to it for some more Event Lab things and some more videos and streams at some point, but yeah, potentially not all that often going forwards. I'll probably end up returning mostly to the mainland. But there we go. That is going to do it for today's video, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back with the next video very soon.